So for those of you who don't know, there is another storm heading towards the UK, and it is called Dave. And so I will be taking you through the forecast of Dave and also how this will play out over the next 7 days. So starting off with the warnings for tomorrow, we have a yellow snow warning up in the Highlands and also up near Stornoway in Scotland. And also that is inside of another yellow warning, this time for wind, which is in issue for most of Scotland. And then also have this yellow warning of wind, which is kind of like an extension to the other one we have up north. And so this one stretches from southern Scotland all the way into central England and northern Wales. And then we also have this other yellow warning of wind for all of Northern Ireland. And then if we go on to Sunday, this time it's the same warnings, but we also have a new yellow warning issued for Orkney and Shetland as well. Now if we head back over to windy, we have the temperatures for the next 7 days. And I'm just going to put it on the Met Office model real quick. That gives us 6 days, not 7. Anyways, so for today, let's try that again. So for today, which is Good Friday, at the moment temperatures seem to be around in the late units, maybe early 10s. And so we have up here, in Scotland area, we have the lower temperatures of around 7, and then also in Thurso is around 5, and in Shetland about 6. And then areas around the south, specifically around London, Bristol area, can get temperatures of around 10 to 11 as of right now in time, and then in Plymouth as well is 12 degrees. So then as we continue down the line, we start to see temperatures start to climb a little bit more. Around 15 degrees is where it will peak at around 3 o'clock in areas such as Norwich, Birmingham and London. And then still areas such as Bristol and Plymouth could see temperatures of 13 degrees. And then up north still we have in Thurso, Lowick, Inverness is around 7 degrees, Aberdeen is around 10, and Glasgow's 5. And then also in this area, in Barfus, Stornoway and Ballyfranish, is temperatures of 5 degrees. So then as we continue going through the rest of the day, temperatures start to go down a little bit. In fact, it still keeps going up around in London and Norwich. Temperatures could reach a max of 16 today in those areas. And then by the time we reach midnight going into tomorrow, we can see temperatures of around 3 to 4 degrees sticking around Scotland area, and it actually pushes down a little bit, and we have this area over here in northern England, which is also under 10 degrees Celsius. So specifically areas such around Newcastle, Leeds, Birmingham, Norwich, St David's and Bangor, you could see temperatures of around 9 degrees max during the night tonight. So then as we continue going down the line into tomorrow, you can see temperatures starting to drop a little bit in the south as the flume from the north keeps coming down, and then areas around central Scotland could see temperatures of around 0 degrees, and I just went over the limit. So let's go back by 2 hours to 6 o'clock, and so we have around the south area still temperatures of around 9 degrees, and maybe also low 10s around Plymouth area. And then as in Inverness, we have temperatures of around 2 degrees, and that mainly sticks throughout most of Scotland. And then as we continue down the line tomorrow, we can see that the areas below 0 start to fade away as we get temperatures speaking around 15 degrees in London and Norwich. area, and then we also have 14 degrees in Birmingham, 13 in Leeds and Bristol, and then around 10 degrees up in Newcastle and Douglas area. And then there is still the area of below 10 degrees up in Scotland, around pretty much all of Scotland, for Glasgow, Aberdeen, Ballyfin, Inverness, Ballyvanish, Varvas, Thurso and Lerwick, with the lowest temperature in that time being around Varvas, Ballyvanish and Ballyfin. So then this area of low pressure, which is the area rotating right next to the island, that is Storm Dave. And so that will push into us as we continue down the line. We can see temperatures of around 15 degrees stay to continue in the southeast area. And then when Storm Dave hits throughout the night, that's when it starts to get its strongest. You can see these lines moving about. That is the wind direction, and also it tells us the wind speed. So it is quite fast where the area of rotation is at its closest to the centre of the low pressure system. But then Storm Dave eventually pushes off into Norway, off towards Bergen, and then temperatures start to peak on Sunday at about 12 degrees in the southeast again, specifically areas such as London and Norwich, and then it starts to get colder again. And then we have the temperatures of below zero start to come back. So it'll be quite a cold night in Scotland, and also quite a little bit of a warm night. Well, not really a warm night, but average night for the time on Monday. So it's quite a cool beginning to Monday, as temperatures are around low, and then it peaks around 13 in London, and actually it peaks to about 14 in the south. So areas such as Bristol, London, Plymouth, we could be seeing 14 degrees on Monday. And then leading into Tuesday, where things start to get a little bit warmer. Again, around average temperatures throughout the night, high unit numbers, so temperatures of below 10 degrees, so around average is about 7 degrees throughout the UK on the night. And then as we continue through the day on Tuesday, then temperatures start to get up a little bit, and then we have this really warm plume where it could bring temperatures of around 17 degrees to southern England. In Birmingham that's 18 degrees, and then still as we head in later throughout the night, Bristol could still have 18, and then it drops down again back to 12 by midnight, and Bristol is still around 13. And then it continues to get colder as the average lowest temperature for that time is about 3 degrees. No, not 3 degrees. 13 degrees. Then, sorry about that, we seem to be having some technical difficulties. That's actually at the end of the timeline, that's why it stopped. Well, that is it for today's forecast. It's been quite a long one today. I'm quite surprised we've been going on for about 9 minutes on this. Anyways, we shall see you tomorrow, probably, for the next one. Bye bye!